Everything went according to the canon, except for sealing. Minato died during sealing, which Kushina rejoiced at, as not in herself. She hated her husband. Fastidious, he just needs to suck the eggs, then lick the urethra, and the tool itself is 15 centimeters. She also hated for treason. You see, she is too energetic. She took the child in her arms and went to Hiruzen, who entered the barrier and saw Minato dead and no one else. A day later on the bed in the house lay a girl with red hair, a girl with red-yellow hair and a baby with red needle-like hair. Their names were all Kushina, Menma and Naruto. The red-haired woman opened her eyes and looked around and began stroking her child. Menma was the same. It's just wonderful to see a cute child again and again, feel those sensations when everything seems to be sucked out of you. The baby opened his eyes, then began to curiously dissect every feature of his mother's face, as if memorizing. Only now he was able to open his eyes, although this is an achievement. Not many people can open their eyes after their first birthday. Naruto had already begun to explore every curve of Kushina's body, and after studying that whole one, he began to reach for the big bumps on his chest, as if to say. Kushina smiled and asked, "Do you want some milk?" To the question, the baby continued to reach out to them, considering it to be yes. She first tightened the dress so that the bra with one breast bulged out. And then she pulled the bra off her chest and the boy touched the soft milky skin, which made the girl moan and clung to the nipple, starting to suck her food. After a while, Menma woke up, who was watching this action. Only now Kushina was trying to restrain herself. After Menma left, dressed, Kushina, on the other hand, directed her hand towards the skirt and threw it back, then pushed aside the fabric of her panties and began to masturbate the clitoris, while sweetly moaning. After 10 minutes, she finished and wanted to wipe her finger on something, as the boy looked at 2 fingers with interest. "Do you want to?" Kushina asked. The red-haired man pulled the handles to his fingers. She gave them to him and he put them in his mouth, but immediately had to pull out his fingers and burst into tears. Well, he was deceived. The red-haired man thought it was something delicious. And this is disgusting stuff. But how can he talk about it in the future? No one knows yet. Menma was sitting in the bathroom and promised herself to become stronger to protect her brother. After washing up so little, she got out of the shower and started putting on clothes. Coming out of the bathroom, she went to the smell of pancakes. Going into the kitchen, she saw her mother who was making pancakes on the stove and a little baby who was sitting in a high chair. He was still small, but so that he would not be bored alone, they bought a high chair. Oh. Hi Menma. Sit down at the table. Now I'm cooking your favorite pancakes with banana. The girl's mother's words gave her goosebumps, and her eyes shone brighter than a pulsar. She sat down at the table and started playing with her brother, judging by everything he does. He's a genius. Suddenly, a plate of pancakes landed next to her hands and she began to devour them with pleasure. After eating, she dressed and said goodbye to her mother and ran to the academy. There he was met with loving glances from Itachi and other boys. No matter how much those, even Itachi, did not try. They could not compare with the genius of little Namikaze Uzumaki. After lessons Menma went home, but some drunk jonin got in her way. Oh? Daughter Hokage? Don't you want to entertain Ikasia with me? Menma screamed at these words and ran in the opposite direction. After jumping on the buildings, she began to walk around at home. Finally running into the house, she looked. It was quiet. Going into her mother's room she saw a baby who was throwing toys. The sounds of water were heard from the shower, so Kushina was there while mom was washing. Menma came down and entered the kitchen. Menma started cooking dumplings. Crying rang out. Menma quickly ran into Naruto's room and saw there a shinobi in old age, with a bandaged right eye and bandages on his hands. I will say relatively, now Menma is stronger than one elite jonin. When the old man saw the girl, he opened the bandage on his right eye. There was a bloodshot eye burning. Manjikyu Sharingan. Koto Amatsukami. He shouted, but Menma managed to close her eyes and disrupt visual contact. Suddenly, a large amount of ki was felt. A red-haired demon entered the room and spoke. Who touched my child? Having run into the old man, the demon tore him into small pieces. After Kushina calmed down, she talked to Menma and they began to sleep. After 4 years, a boy with red hair, which was in the hairstyle of the needle sun, ran out into the street. 6 antennae symmetrically arranged on the cheeks, 3 on each. A black t-shirt with the image of the nine-tailed and orange shorts with a bandage on the ankle, with shinobi sandals. The boy ran down the street, and Anbu Hokage ran after him, shouting that it is impossible to decorate the faces of the great Hokage on Mount Hokage. The boy, in response to the word, said, "Bibi, don't catch up. Ha ha ha. I will become a Hokage and become the coolest person in the world. Even my dad can't match my speed." Bugagaga. Suddenly Anbu appeared in a dog mask and a minute later caught the struggling boy by the collar. "Do you understand that Kushina will kill you later? You still painted Minato-sensei's face the most." A gloomy and slightly bass voice made the boy tremble and calm down. "So what, Dadabayo?" "Yes, I myself will become the coolest Hokage in the universe, and imagine if your son would decorate your face on Mount Hokage. Would it be nice?" "Yes. Because he will soon become the same as me, Dadabayo. And now for now." Poop San, turning out of Kakashi's crease, he runs away, and after using shadow clones, he begins to phone them with chakra, while creating another clone that will phone weakly, like a trick to deceive Kakashi. But before he could create a clone, he hit something half soft, half hard and fell to the ground. "Oh. Little sister. Bento brought me. Thank you, Dadabayo." Dodging Menma's punches, the boy said, "No matter how much the girl trained, but Naruto always dodges her punches," while joking. "Yeah. Get your bento." The girl shouted and hit Naruto with all her possible speed that he flew into the house. "Nei-san, it hurts," rubbing his forehead and back, the boy said. Suddenly he smiled and disappeared into the haze. Turning around, he saw a red-haired beast with turquoise eyes that turn into yellow roundels, and the woman's body was covered with a red chakra, which remained from the nine-tailed. After a moment of stupor of the boy and Kushina's anger, the great Sannin was torn into small pieces. Then suspicions fell on Kushina that she had killed the elder, but only Hiruzen was afraid to tell Kushina about it. He did not want to become a collection of her meat pieces. After 4 years Naruto became stronger, Menma also, but still couldn't catch up with Naruto. Now Naruto was walking along the road to the academy. Suddenly a girl with bangs runs out and jumps on buildings. Naruto became interested in what this girl's name was and he also jumped, only more quickly and skillfully through buildings. Well, of course, from the moment he learned to run, he became the fastest and most skillful master of parkour. When he reached the girl, he saw that she was dressed in Uchiha clan symbols, which means that she had already learned fire equipment. "What's your name, Dadabayo?" Uchiha was surprised to hear voices, so she began to fall, but Naruto caught her. "MISS name is Uchiha Sasuke." Sasuke turns away blushingly. "And my name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze Dadabayo." "Nice to meet you, Sasuke-chan." Uchiha realized that she blushed even more on her hands and turned away. When he reached the academy, he let the Uchiha go and they started listening to the nonsense of the 3rd. Naruto also took a tube, put a piece of paper in there and spat at the third. The piece of paper hit exactly the target and the third began to unfold the paper. "O Turan ikamuzuaju yaviknikas yagno yelavyovs os labelkas from a agagagab kokarud." Excuse me, come into the classrooms, and I need to move away," said the third, after which he invited Uzumaki to his place. "You did that, didn't you?" Sandai asked, showing Naruto the note. He started laughing after reading it. "What am I? Yes, there is an incomprehensible language here. Databeo. Naruto lied and did not blush. Let's now tell you the powers of all the characters in the plot. Kakashi, 4200 Kage, 5000 Min Kushina, 5000 Kakashi Sharingan, 4500. The third is 5120 Itachi, 4100 Jonin, 2000 Elite Jonins, 3000 Naruto, 3500. If the Jonins do not underestimate that they will win on experience. Menma, 3200. Itachi has become stronger than Menma. Konohamaru, 450 Genin, 1000 Academician, 400 Kushina is furious, 5500 Jiraiya, 0, dead, walking along Konoha. He bought a mask and put it on, then ran to the place where he burned the base of the Anbu route. When he reached the Hokage mountain, he started running up the stairs. When he got there, he ran to the head of the third. When he reached it, he jumped off. After he began to fold the seals: snake, monkey, bull, rabbit, sheep, dragon, rat, dragon, horse, dog, pig, snake, bull, sheep, goat, bird, tiger, Fuinjutsu, Baroku o Kaijo Suru no Jutsu, Fuinjutsu, unlock jutsu. After the words and seals, a hole appeared behind the boy. Naruto walked up to her and jumped down. Jumping, he landed not very gently. He started walking. It was good that he managed to buy a flashlight. Taking out a flashlight, he began to shine in different directions, so he reached the fork. His gut told him not to turn and go straight. He followed the call of his heart. When he reached the end, he turned to the left and also started walking. There was an oppressive atmosphere of fear and the unknown everywhere, but Naruto didn't care. He walked like that for a couple of minutes, then he reached a large hall with books, climbed up on a bookcase with books. He started walking straight ahead along it. When he reached it, he turned on the switch and saw millions of papers. Finally reaching the right one, he picked it up and began to read. After 1,000 curses of the third, Naruto sat in the classroom and looked at everyone, just like everyone at him. In one case it was arrogant looks, in another it was lovers, and in the third. In general, there is no third. Iruka started calling everyone and everything, and Naruto listened to only a couple of people: Shirkunara, Choji Akimichi and Sasuke Uchiha. Naruto Uzumaki. My name is Naruto Uzumaki Databeo. I'm 8 years old. I love my mom and sister. I don't like arrogant looks and inconsistency in the Databeo team. Dream. Become super strong like Hagoromo Otsutsuki. Ouch! The boy guiltily lowered his eyes, as mats were coming from his subconscious in his direction. That is, I want to become stronger than the sage of the 6 ways Databeo. And the goal? The goal is to become the 5th Hokage at the earliest age of Databeo. So that I could immediately become the 5th, after Bathi Hokage, Databeo. Naruto's speech made everyone laugh, except the girls. They let out a languid sigh, which made all the boys shudder, and instead of arrogant looks, envious ones also appeared. Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno and Ino Yamanaka were the most important in Naruto's fan club. If Sasuke joined it and no one knows about it, then Sakura and Ino do not hide it and openly climb to Naruto. Guys. Sorry and probably. But I don't want to fucking describe the academy, and to be honest, I'm too lazy to write this whole academy. Let's move on to the distribution. So team number 7, Sasuke Uchiha, Naruto Uzumaki, Sakura Haruno. After these words, one pink-haired girl screamed joyfully, Mentor, Itachi Uchiha, Kakashi Hatake. Sasuke opened her mouth and stared with bulging eyes at her brother standing next to the other Jonins, and Naruto, following the gaze of his girlfriend, saw almost a copy of Sasuke, although no, Sasuke is a copy of this teenager. Who are you? Why do you look like Sachan asterisk? Naruto shouted, I'm her brother, my name is Uchiha Itachi, and what about you? Maea, what kind of uneducated children are yelling at their sensei? Kakashi lazily drawled, AAH. What are you doing here, Poop San? At the words of the red-haired one, Kakashi just walked up to him and put a click, don't call me that while I'm your sensei, okay? Uzuratanki asterisk, UH. You're like that yourself. Okay, send it to the roof all according to the canon, except Sasuke, Itachi Sakura and Naruto. My name is Itachi Uchiha. I'm 16 years old. I love tomatoes. I don't like one Uchiha, he remembers Toby. Dream. To become a hokage, indignant screams were heard from one red-haired man dash. Goal. Get the power, that S where the indignant screams from Sasuke rang out, Naruto should be here, but you know what he said, let's move on to Sasuke, our Naruto is 13 years old, my name is Sasuke Uchiha. I'm 14 years old. I love one red sun and tomatoes. I don't like it when Nii-san doesn't train me. At this point Itachi awkwardly scratched his head. Dream. Become stronger than your brother. Goal. To eat all the tomatoes in the world is the goal, she said with a saliva. Who understood the hint is well done, and who did not? I don't know. Naruto began to blush like a tomato, remembering one case that looked like a lesbian, more precisely flashback. Naruto was sitting at his desk and writing something. Suddenly Sakura stands on his desk and looks face to face into Sasuke's eyes. Suddenly Shikamaru, well, let it be him, pushed Sakura and she kissed Sasuke with her lips. Naruto then choked on saliva, and then began to laugh furiously, as Sasuke pushed Sakura back one desk and began furiously wiping her lips. Fucking Sakura stole her kiss with Naruto, the same with Sakura. End flashback. Now I'll explain to you what Sasuke's metaphor means. Eat all the tomatoes in the world. Think for yourself, which boy has hair the color of a tomato? That's right, I hope you guessed it. It was such a hint. Well, now I'll finish FF. After introducing Sasuke, Sakura started saying the same thing only towards Naruto. After Kakashi said that there would be an exam with bells and left with Itachi saying the time and place to the 7th polygon, the time is 5 o'clock and do not eat. Naruto got up and went home to beg for information. Mom. And tell me about Kakashi-sensei, MMM? Okay, Kakashi, a student of your father and my husband, was a genius and soon after admission became a genin. After he began to wait for the release of genins from his class, after graduation Obito Uchiha and Rin no Haru got into his team. They have started to carry out all the missions that you will carry out, full immersion in memories. Rin, you're coming from behind, we'll definitely get this cat, calmly says a boy with ash-colored hair and a half-face mask. Here they come to the alley, where they see a cat that hisses at them. Rin, Obito, get started. Shadows jumped down from above and started flying at the cat. It was a boy with black hair and a girl with brown hair. Yes, we caught this Kosh. Ah. She's scratching, shouted the brunette. Smooth transition. You are going on a very important A-rank mission. Are you ready? Yes, of course. Yeah, Minato's team went to war. Smooth transition. Minato-sensei, Hatake said in a strained voice. Yes, I see, be quiet. Without listening to sensei, Kakashi began to fold the seals, tiger, bull, rabbit, Raiden, Chidori. In the ash-haired man's hand, a ball of lightning formed, which wanted to escape from the creator's hands. Minato stopped him with his hand, but Kakashi had already dodged his hand and ran at the shinobi of the stone. He also began to attack. As a result, Minato's wrist was cut, and Kakashi was miraculously saved with a wound. Rin began to treat Hatake with her Ireninjutsu, and Minato took off the bag, and when the bag had already landed to the ground, Minato was behind the shinobi. So it's true that you are a yellow lightning Kono. Shinobi did not have time to finish as his throat was cut. Smooth transition. Kushina stood near the gates of Konoha and communicated with everyone and gave parting words. Obito, you must definitely return with your comrades intact from the mission. Otherwise, you will get acquainted not only with my fist, me. I promise. If I don't, then I'm no longer Hokage, and yes, contact me already, Mr. Hokage. I promise that we will come without wounds. Kushina stretched out her arm bent at the elbow and pressed the other hand to the bicep. Well, look. You promised, transition, you know. I want a son who will look like Obito, and it's okay that he will be incompetent, but he will be the soul of the company. Transition. Earthquake, rocks in the cave fall, suddenly someone screams, Kakashi, and he pushes him away, looking at the savior. He has already seen half of the body of his friend Obito. Obito. He shouted, running up to the stone. Hatake starts pushing the stone, and Rin looks at it with horror. Poop. Heh. I'm dying, run away, damn it, cough cough. I never kept Kushina-san's promise, take my Sharingan, use it properly. And I, pathetically die, sacrificing cough cough myself. Kakashi was going for a long time and still got ready to tear out Obito's eye, after he left with Rin. Reality, that's it, well, And he's strong. I'm sure I'll beat him. I'll run. In short, I will overthrow. We have an exam. And don't buzz about teamwork, and I know without you. Going outside, Naruto said, he was going to find out about Itachi. Name, Itachi, clan, if there is no clan, then enter, surname, in the line Uchiha, surname, as such there is no status, genius of his clan Dojutsu, Sharingan, how strong is Dojutsu, Manjikyu Sharingan, Sharingan abilities, only if there is a Manjikyu Tsukuyomi, Amaterasu, relatives, Fugaku Uchiha, father, Mikoto Uchiha, mother, Sasuke Uchiha, sister, service, ANBU, call sign. Raven. Updated service, sensei of the 7th team students, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, Sakura Haruno, Sasuke Uchiha. Naruto POV. Aha, now everything is clear. When I got up, I shook myself off and started to go out. When I reached the exit, I broke all 17 seals and unlocked the exit. I was severely blinded, but after a minute I began to see normally. The sun is almost out. I climbed on the head of the third and jumped off the head, landing on the building. I started jumping on poles and buildings. After 5 minutes I found myself at the training ground and found myself at the site where everyone was waiting for me. Mama. So where have you been? Poop Sensei asked me. Well. I am lost on the road of life, Databayo, end POV. Naruto. Everyone stood in a stupor, and some, Genins, even wondered if he was definitely the son of Hokage, and not Hatake. Don't repeat after me. Maea, shall we start Kohai? Yes, Senpai did. In short, you have to take away my bells. Indignant screams burst from the mouth of the red-haired man. What's the matter, Naruto? I won't touch your bells. Ugh. Pedophile. Kakashi's eye twitched. Mama, let's get started already. Everyone jumped to different places. So they don't work as a team, so after all, during this time they haven't even discussed an action plan? They definitely won't pass. But I will avenge Naruto for a pedophile. 3. He went to Sasuke first, then dealt with her, turning into Naruto. He did the same with Sakura. So we need to find this red sun, Kakashi thought, and started looking for that one. Finding him in the clearing, he went out opposite, and Naruto himself did not hide. Why aren't you hiding? You fell below the baseboard, Poop Sensei. How could you not notice me for a few minutes? You are not only pedophile, you've shaken me. Kakashi decided to use the secret taijutsu technique invented by his father. 1,000 years of pain. Once behind his back, he said this and was already preparing to fall asleep with his fingers there. Ahem, I'm against Yoi. If you are too, then let's #identify. Suddenly Naruto jumped back and started screaming, ah. You are definitely a pedophile, / at the moment of danger. Sid Naruto increases Naruto at the moment of danger, 9,000 / at an incredible speed. He appeared behind Kakashi and also created a new technique. Go to the mental hospital, pedophile. Kicking him in the ass, the boy shouted. As a result, the exam was passed and they are now real geniuses. Sasuke has a very good memory since childhood. She remembers almost everything. She remembered her second and third birthdays, when she got dirty in a chocolate cake, and how Itachi laughed at her. She was so mad at him then, and so on her third birthday, on a beautiful evening, she burned her dad and mom for one thing. And now she dreams of doing this with Naruto. Of course, the parents do not know about her memory, otherwise it would be embarrassing for them. They did not do decent things in front of a baby with a very good memory, and now Sasuke is lying and dreaming of spending a very energetic night next to our restless protagonist. I have to go to bed, she thought, and went to rest, getting up early tomorrow. The next day, POV. Sasuke opening my eyes, I got up and started to get dressed. I don't know why, but only a few pictures that were obscene for children surfaced in my memories. Anchored forever, smiley face. After leaving the room, I went to the shower, washed, I got dressed again, and then went to the kitchen. Mom and Dad were there. Good morning, Mom, Dad. I said with a smile. Good morning, daughter. My mother answered me. Morning. As always, my father spoke in a heavy bass voice. We are with Naruto-kun today. What's funny, Mom? Naruto-kun, you say? And what are you going to do today? Mom asked with malice in her voice. We will complete the missions. We will certainly be given an S rank mission. I decided not to take off into the clouds of dreams for a long time. Well, you will be given a maximum of a D rank mission. Good morning, father, mother. Good morning, little sister. My older brother broke me off. Nothing like that. Naruto-kun actually defeated Poop Sensei. For some reason, everyone burst out laughing with this phrase, and then as soon as I realized what I shouted, I blushed. From the appeal to Kakashi's Sharingan, Fugaku choked on tea. He did not even imagine that Kakashi could be called a poop. After eating, I quickly went outside and ran to the Hokage residence. When I got there, I saw Naruto-kun and Sakura. I managed to make friends with her. Entering the residence, we went with the whole team to the Hokage. Opening the door, we saw only a scroll. Kushina-san took the scroll and began to read. Congratulations, you have a C-rank mission to escort the bridge builder Tazuna-san. Tazuna-san should be in one of Konoha's houses. Now we'll go, let's hurry. Yes. Everyone shouted, including me in unison. And POV. Sasuke Team 7 ran to the house on the outskirts of Konoha. Near the gate, Tazuna-san himself will have to receive us until 1500 hours, and then he has every right to go home. When he reached the musty house, a stinking old man came out with a bottle of sake, and these. I see. Brats. I see. Will be me. I see. Naya. A company? Yes. I see. By themselves. I see. Need. I see. Pomo. Ik. SHCHOU. Naruto shouted and was ready to jump on him, but he was stopped. In case of panic, Naruto's power level also rises, as well as in case of a threat to life. Naruto in a panic. 9K/. Do you know Konoha's Sharingan? Naruto asked. Yes. I see. And that? I see. This should be Obazna. I see. What? Yes, that I sent him flying with one kick in the ass. If you don't want to check, then shut up. Yes, that, you. Ik. Do. I see. Eat. I see. Me. I see. Self-sufficient. I see. Why? Go. I see. Nin, unable to withstand Naruto at great speed, he found himself behind the enemy's back and slightly stuck the kunai in his neck. A red liquid flowed from this point. Smug? Smug here, only you, old man, that's enough. And you, Tazuna-san, don't meddle with my son. Understand? Yes, yes, Tazuna already turned pale. After that, they left the village and went to the land of waves. While they were walking, Tazuna climbed to Kushina, but she only gave him not her beauty, but rage. More precisely, broken arms and a rib. Sakura was always asking Naruto about the land of waves, Sasuke was eavesdropping, and Naruto was answering questions. So they walked until Kushina and Naruto noticed a puddle. Naruto abruptly stopped, fell to the ground and started laughing. One Tazuna looked at him like an idiot. Oh. Look, ahaha. How well they hide. Ahahahahahaha. In a puddle. Ahahaha. When it hasn't rained for 5 weeks. Ahahahaha. When it's 25 plus degrees. Ahahahaha. After the words, the demon brothers jumped out of the puddle and flew at the nearest one, Naruto, but they miscalculated by choosing him the weakest. In a couple of blows and they are already flying into the trees, losing consciousness. HM. Henchman bought by Nato. Who is Nato, Naruto-kun? Sasuke asked, the brother of the largest businessman, Gato, Nato's #1 criminal, owns 3 billion ri, I see. Kushina muttered, so, Mom, let's spend the night here, okay? Yeah. I agree. Come on, after all the tents were set up, that's not the task of tents 3, not 4. Sasuke decided to sleep with Naruto and they all went to bed. POV Sasuke. As soon as I closed my eyes, I had to open them again. How? Naruto loomed over me like a predator over prey, his blue eyes flashed and he clung to my lips. After a second, I realized that I had to answer and we started fighting. After a minute we didn't have enough air and we pulled away from each other. He began to leave hickeys on my neck, going lower and lower. Here he is unbuttoning my bra and clinging to my nipple. Oh, these feelings. They are like that. He licked them and whatever he did, so he goes to the stomach and goes to my flower. Oh. Naru, he licks it and pulls the little pea that is on top of my flower. Here he is undressing. It is prepared and... Sasuke, wake up. I abruptly opened my eyes. Is this a dream? A hell of a dream, of course. End POV Sasuke, are you alright, Sachan? That's it, Nakuen, and when did you start calling me that? Hi today, it's not even logical to argue, come on, I made dumplings. It is also necessary to wake Sakura and Mom. Leaving the tent, Naruto said and left, and Sasuke tried to remember the feelings of that dream. She certainly won't forget this dream. I've been thinking. And I remembered that Naruto is a Jinchuriki, so let's determine his strength with tails. Naruto with Kurama chakra, 5k Naruto 1 tail, 6.5k Naruto 2 tails, 7k Naruto 3 tails, 8k Naruto 4 tails, 10k Naruto 5 tails, 15k Naruto 6 tails, 25k Naruto 7 tails, 30k Naruto 8 tails, 40k Naruto full kubi. 50k Naruto left the tent and went to Sakura and Kushina. Stopping at the aisle, he said, Mom. Sakura-chan. Get up, now. Sonny, let me sleep. Naruto-kun, company rise. Blue-eyed shouted. After the shout, muttering and curses began to be heard from the tent directed towards the red-haired man. After 10 minutes, Kushina and Sakura came out of the tent, then sat down at the pot and poured themselves dumplings. Naruto himself went to wake up Tazuna. Old man, wake up, Dadabayo. The boy shouted from the tent. Let grandpa sleep normally. Naruto did not like the answer of the bridge builder and he entered the tent. There was an old man, but only his eyes. They were different. The old man. What's wrong with your eyes? Pointing to yellow eyes with an elongated pupil. Don't pay attention, said Tazuna and picked up sake. well, let's drink. Ah. Uzumaki hit Tazun on the jaw. No drinking. March to eat dumplings. After everyone started eating, Naruto went to the forest and started training. He began to concentrate the chakra in his hand. After 5 seconds a blue sphere was held in Uzumaki's hands, which was spinning at high speed. Come on. Flying Rasengan. Namikaze threw the sphere, but it immediately disappeared. Maybe you need less chakras? He began to concentrate the chakra again and swelled a smaller chakra. A small blue sphere was formed and Naruto threw it, but it evaporated in a second. CSR. Stupid Rasengan. You don't want to take off normally, yes. Databao. Then I'll fill up the fucking chakras. You're definitely not going to unwind. Naruto started concentrating the chakra again and started adding a shitload of chakras there. Rasengan began to increase and he stopped feeding the chakra only when Rasengan became the size of a 6-year-old, but suddenly Rasengan dissipated, creating a huge impulse that threw Naruto into the tree. After Uzumaki fell to the ground and began to cough. Kick-ass Databao, we need to create a clone. The red-haired man got up, went to the crater and created a clone, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. A clone appeared. Naruto began to explain everything to Tom. So, Databao, I put my hands out, and you insert your own next to me. When I have a Rasengan and I say start, fill in the chakra, and then I'll tell you stop, you'll stop. Then we will control this huge thing, and you a little later, you will weaken your control, but slowly, so that I have time to get used to controlling, okay? Of course, let's get started. He put out his hands and began to create a Rasengan. When the sphere appeared, the clone put his hands to the Rasengan and began adding chakra to the Rasengan. The technique began to get bigger and bigger. Stop, the clone stopped feeding the chakra and they were both sweating. I'll call it a huge Rasengan, Odama Rasengan. After the clone tore his hands off the sphere and dissipated, Naruto tried to restrain this hulk. After a minute he stopped feeling the heaviness. He ran to the tree and shouted, huge Rasengan Databao. After the tree was smashed to splinters, or rather the base, and the top began to fall on the restless fool, the boy jumped away from the tree at an incredible speed and sat down on the ground. After a tree fell to the ground immediately after Naruto landed, a little more and I would have a scribe, Fu, Databao. Said GG and went back. When he reached the monastery, he saw that Kushina had removed the tents and the seal. Having collected everything they needed, they went along the road, so they walked until they reached an abandoned bridge. After moving to the other side, they went along the road. Whistling. The sword flies right over the head of the Tazuna, but suddenly he catches it with his hands and puts it in front of him. What's the matter with you, Tazuna-san? Jonin and the teacher of the whole team asked with concern. Oh. So you didn't understand. I'm Nato. More precisely, his shell. In fact I am Orochimaru. After these words, a shinobi with big round glasses jumped here. My name is Kabuto Yakushi, he said, adjusting his glasses. Orochimaru licked his lips and ran at Sasuke with incredible speed. Here Orochimaru does not need new bodies, but Toko Dojutsu. Half remained and now Sasuke's corpse was forked, but the unexpected happened. She dissolved POV Sasuke after the blow. I felt a cold pain from my head to my own. You know what? I appeared, no matter how strange it sounded in total darkness, but through the darkness I saw a fascinating pattern that looked like a Sharingan, but that small curl was long, which made it Manjikyu, and POV coming closer with fascinated eyes. She touched the drawing and began to caress in any way, rub this drawing with her cheek. More precisely, everything. Even lick. After a minute of such clouded actions, the exact same pattern burned in her eyes, and she said, I got the power, me. I'll get your attention. Mashirama-sama, after she fell asleep, completely naked in this darkness. Meanwhile, Several hours have passed in the world after Sasuke's pseudo-death. Naruto looked at this and felt a big release of chakra. Kurama himself was also angry, since this was the only Uchiha with whom he shippered Naruto. There was no one else, even with the cute Hinata, so Kurama stupidly began to give that chakra without hesitation. Naruto began to be covered with a translucent chakra, while there was no tail yet. The pupils of the red-haired man became foxy, and the antennae became clearer. After Jinchuriki ran to the problem of the day, Orochimaru, he did not expect to see both Jinchuriki and Uzumaki at the same time, so he was glad. Naruto attacked and attacked, then his body was completely captured by Kurama's mind. Don't be afraid for a while, for a couple of hours only, you'll pay for Ase-chan. Immediately the teenager was enveloped in a scarlet-black chakra. The eyes turned into the same round as Kushina's, but only white, and the teeth and mouth turned white. Fox ears and 4 tails appeared. 2 hands were formed from the chakra, after which the chakra began to concentrate in them and a red Rasengan turned out. The fox ran at Sannin and they began to fight, or rather Orochimaru dodged the Rasengans, and Kurama attacked. After a minute of such errands, Orochimaru decided to attack, so he strikes dodging another blow from Rasengan. Here comes Kusanagi, but noticed that the elongated hand with the Rasengan still hadn't returned to its place. He panicked, that was already his mistake. Kurama took advantage of the opponent's hitch and hit one Rasengan in the back, and the other in the stomach and shouted, "Fox Rasengan." After there was an explosion and a sphere appeared from which the chakra radiated. Remember the sphere when Sasuke and Naruto first encountered Rasengan and Chidori, here. Only this sphere is blue and blue chakra lines emanated from it. 3 minutes later, the glow ended and you could see many snakes torn to shreds and one survivor. Naruto stood there and let off steam, especially his hand. Uzumaki's entire body was covered with either abrasions or burns. Oh, you! Naruto shouted when he saw that Orochimaru survived and broke the cloning seal. Smoke appeared and hands appeared from there that began to feed the chakra into Naruto's Rasengan. After 50 seconds, a giant Rasengan was visible on the battlefield. That's it. Suddenly there was an outburst of air that threw the boy away, and Odama Rasengan flew into Orochimaru. A little more and there was another impulse already stronger, which pushed Orochimaru a couple of meters. After the dust descended, it was possible to see Sasuke. Naruto, noticing her, crawled to her. Since now his injuries were too severe, he could not even add chakras to the damaged chakra canals. Otherwise, as Kurama says, the fate of Mato Gai and Rock Lee awaits him. Orochimaru folds a special seal and his neck lengthens. After his neck flies to Sasuke. Now the snake's head has approached, but suddenly Sasuke opens his eyes, and the Manjikyu of the legendary Uchiha Mashirama, the son of Madara and Hashirama, was burning in him. And they say, "Sniff the baby," after kicking the snake-like Sannin's head back from the turntable. After the blow, Sannin himself ran to Sasuke, then took out Kusanagi, and Sasuke. A bone came out of the palm that looked like a sword and she began to masterfully fight in Kenjutsu with Orochimaru. Then suddenly Sasuke smiled and kicked Tom saying, "Baba boy." After Orochimaru flew away from Kabuto to 3 trees, Sasuke's eyes took on their usual color and she fell. Naruto crawled closer and closer to her. Having promised to become the strongest in this world, there was no necessary motivation before, but now. He will definitely do it. Somewhere in the nth time Naruto abruptly stood up and began to breathe fitfully. Looking at the next bed, he saw a brunette, smiling. He got up and wanted to go to her and wake her up. But the pain in all the muscles made itself felt and he fell on Sasuke. She woke up abruptly, Sharingan was burning in her eyes, and she looked at him with anger. "Oh. Sacha, don't call me that." What? Only Mashirama-sama can call me that, but, no buts. Now you treat me like Sasuke Uchiha, and I treat you like Naruto Namikaze son of Hokage, okay? the shipper sitting inside Naruto was hit hard in the heart, although Uzumaki felt the same thing. He looked shocked at Sasuke, who got up and muttered about some Naruto Harem. He blinked his eyes and passed out from emotional shock. A week passed after that incident. Sasuke was still cold-blooded and possibly hostile to Naruto, and when Naruto wanted to wake her up, when they were on missions, then I heard these words, "Paw. Those. Me. Naya. Everywhere. Mr. Dean." Then Naruto was truly shocked. Now he was walking along the Konoha road to the hot springs to at least slightly reduce all the stress. When he reached the springs, he saw a blonde grandfather peeping at women. Suddenly some kind of Tokubetsu Jonin campaign ran at the old man shouting, "Oh, you pervert," but was defeated with one blow. One could see that he looked like Jiraiya, which angered the red-haired one a little. Approaching the spear of Jiraiya, he pulled him by the cloak. Do you need something, kid?" "Yes." "Can you train me?" "Are you sure?" "I'll drive you to Broken Bones." "Yes." Uzumaki responded decisively and looked with his lights in the direction of the old man. "And what is your name?" "Me." "Yes, I am the great-great-brother of Jiraiya. Konoha's 4th Sannin. And my name is Zerome." "Kid, and what's your name?" "Me. I am the future 5th Hokage, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze Dadabayo," said the boy. After talking, they went to the training ground and started sparring there. After the fight, Zerome still won, Zerome at the time of the fight, 7500 Naruto at the time of the fight, 4700 and so, baby, since you are good and can already fight with Kage on equal terms, then I will drive you like Sensei drove me. 1000 push-ups, 1500 kilometers, 2000 pull-ups, 2500 abs, 3000 squats, 5 sets. The teenager opened his mouth at this, but quickly closing it, he began push-ups. 3 hours later tired Namikaze sat down on the ground and waited a little, got up and ran. After 5 hours it was evening, and a breathless boy with wet red hair and a wet t-shirt with shorts resorted to Zome, and Uzumaki himself smelled bad. Getting up and catching his breath after 30 minutes, he continued and jumping on the horizontal bar began to do pull-ups. After 10 hours the hot body of our hero was lying on the ground, and Zerome decided to train him further, since he did not give up and did everything until he lost his pulse. "Ha! I'll take you to Kushina." He picked up Uzumaki and went home to Kushina. When he got there, he just knocked and put a red-haired boy under the door. After a minute, a girl with red hair came out. Kushina, looking at her child, she picked him up and carried him to his bed. After a month of training now Naruto was squatting. He was only a month later, he was able to get used to training and was able to reach squats. And only one approach. That's 2999 times and the last. The boy got up again, and then fell with a joyful face. During this time, the teenager's muscles became more prominent, and he gained 10 centimeters in height. Today was supposed to pass the first stage, so taking his feet in his hands, he ran to the academy, where he was met by a pair of eyes, in love with Sakura and angry from Sasuke. After the team entered the academy and went to the 3rd floor. When they reached him, they went into the classroom where there were a lot of genins. Everyone looked at them and tried to crush Ki. Naruto went to the sound team and coming up said, "How is Orochimaru, did you find a dojutsu?" At these words, the sound engineers opened their eyes wide and began to look at the grinning Uzumaki in shock. Naruto turned around and was about to leave when a ringing was heard in his ears. From the sharp pain in his ears, he abruptly fell to his knees and began to scream. Genin was standing behind him with his head completely bandaged, except for his eye. After a few seconds of ringing from his ears, Naruto quietly hears Kurama's voice, and because of his demonic tone, Naruto could not make out a single letter of the fox. When he got up, he felt that the pain and ringing were disappearing. Looking at the sound man, he saw only a shocked eye. "Well, of course, How to react to the fact that earlier someone was bleeding from the ears, and then steam poured out of there? Naruto instantly approached Genin and struck one blow, from which the Sonic flew to the wall. Naruto's strength at the end of training, 7500 Sonic, 2400 Sasuke, 2000 Sasuke Sharingan, 2500 Sasuke Manjikyu, 3000 Sasuke under the control of Mashirama. 10,000 Naruto with tails will be in the comments to the part Naruto in a panic. 12k Naruto is in danger, 13k Naruto is furious, 15k, add tails and kushina, 6,000 kushina is furious, 6,500 Menma, 5,100 Menma is furious, 5,800 Itachi, 4,900 Itachi Sharingan, 5,200 Itachi Manjikyu, 5,790 Kakashi, incapacitated, in the hospital, Zerome, 7501 the third Hokage, 4,900 everyone was in awe, an ordinary-looking genin, and sent elite genins of sound flying. Naruto, as if nothing had happened, sat down on the desk, then Ibiki came and explained everything necessary and everyone began to write off. Or you are Sakura Haruno. More precisely, she did everything herself, but Naruto, as an ordinary boy who does not shine with intelligence, began to get nervous. He hated the theory, but remembered the words of Sensei, it is necessary to think not logically, more precisely. Like down on behalf of Naruto I got up, everyone looked at me strangely, then I went up to Sakura, took her piece of paper, cloned it and went to my room, that's it. Absolutely everyone was in shock and everyone probably had it in their head, what was so possible? Suddenly Ibiki said the end on behalf of Naruto, ahem ahem. Who repeats, he immediately takes off with the team. Everyone immediately lowered their heads, as they wanted to pick up the leaves, well, except Sakura, Naruto and Sasuke. An hour later almost all of them took off, except for 5 teams. Yakusha teams, Sonic teams, Naruto teams, Sandbox teams and Raincoat teams. Suddenly, a girl with indecent attire flew into the window, but looking into the classroom, she did not even see concerned glances in her direction, only mocking ones. She especially did not like the cold look of Naruto, who at the same time sneers mockingly, and a light called mockery lights up in his eyes every now and then. So. I am the examiner of the second stage, you have to come to the 44th polygon, also known to all the Forest of Death, come at 1500 hours, the day after tomorrow, 5 times 3 equals 15. A total of 15 people passed the exam. Naruto went home, when suddenly he saw a girl who was being bullied, her hair was brown, and dark brown tearful eyes said that she was clanless. When he came up he crucified all the jerks and asked, hey, what's your name, Databeo, MMM? Me? My name is Uchiha Izumi. Naruto was very surprised, although there is no visible symbolism of the clan, so she is an outcast. You're a genin, right? Well, why am I asking, you can see by the bandage, but who are these guys, this is my team, they wanted to take the exam, but I refused, they wanted to beat me and where? At this word, the angry and red-haired man approached the boys, picked them up and said, touch Izumi-chan again, I will send you on 1,000th flight, do you understand Databeo? These words were answered by nodding dummies. He threw them away and picked up the girl, even though she was a genin, but her height is small, like an academician. When he reached the hospital, he did everything necessary, paid for treatment and they patched Izumi's wounds. After he went with her to her house, as she said that she was an orphan, after seeing her off, he said goodbye to the girl and went home. When he reached home, he opened the door where he was greeted by his sister's embrace. After all, their relationship from strained turned into a relationship of loving each other, brother and sister. Sounds came from the kitchen, and Menma was asking her younger niece about everything. Hi, Mom, oh, hi, son, how was the first stage? Everything is fine, only 5 teams have passed, can you imagine, Databeo? Red-haired man shouted joyfully, well, I've made you some ramen here, will you? Naruto drooled from the question, and Kushina laughed. Ha ha ha, so yes. After that, everyone sat down and Kushina imposed everyone to eat. A teenager with a brown-haired girl was sitting at the training ground and they were training punches, or rather a girl, and Naruto was training. The girl's name was Izumi. She turned out to be a genius in a flower that had not blossomed, and Naruto roughly forced her to bloom. Izumi managed to awaken one Tomoe Sharingan and now trains him. As it turned out, she has a sister who is familiar with Sasuke's brother Izuna. Izumi's sister is called Izuna, not Nada to throw slippers. Here the Uchiha takes out a couple of kunai and throws a 10/10 hit at the target. As they say, if a genius has not dissolved his leaves for a long time, then by dissolving them he will be at the level of those geniuses who dissolved before her. After leaving kunai, she and Jinchuriki started running around Konoha. An hour later Naruto ran 1,500 kilometers, and Izumi stopped at 500 kilometers. After they started to squat and stretch and Naruto barely, but he was able to do the second approach, which means about his power surge. She could do the same with Izumi before, 500 kilometers of 500 squats, pull-ups and push-ups. She was able to do 2 approaches. Meanwhile, Sasuke has Sasuke indifferently through 10 out of 10 kunai with an activated 3-wash Sharingan. For some reason she felt a strange warmth towards Naruto Namake's. Maybe love? No. Rave. She loves her Mashuram-sama. No one else and nothing. He is both sweetness and joy for her. She started throwing more violently, which is why she noticed that something was wrong with her back. She was too sore. In vain she directed the chakra towards her back. Bones came out of there that looked like 2 arms growing out of the back. Without flesh and muscles, she tried to move them and it turned out, directed more chakras and these wings became bigger, but not only bigger, but also heavier. Tomorrow Naruto was already going to the 44th training ground again. When he reached he saw 14 people. Finding his team, he went to her. Having reached too much, frustrated face, he began to ask Sakura how she learned Ireninjutsu and chakra strikes. She showed by example and made a hole in the tree. The teams looked at it and were blown away. After all, to have such control of the chakra, it's so enviable. Even Gaara prayed that they would not get the opposite scroll for Naruto, since he felt the power of the tailed one from him and at the same time this power was on a par with the one-tailed one, and Shikaku himself honestly when he realized that the Jinchuriki of his 9-tailed enemy was so strong, even Gaara would be stronger. POV Naruto guys, I know that you are reading me and others, damn, I have to tell you, my full mask will not stand. I know for sure that someone is writing something for me to say, well, Lon. I will stop wearing a mask, Naruto is serious, 10,000 going to the table with the scrolls, he took out a scroll of heaven. All the others got it. Scroll of the earth, write all the commands. What kind of luck is this? Naruto and his team came up to me and went, Sasuke, what techniques have you learned? You need to know the level of approximately your strength. I can fireball, fire phoenix bullets and Chidori. And where did you learn Chidori? Quite a logical question, but how? Well, my brother Itachi taught me. He used to be Kakashi-sensei's partner, HM. You used to say poop just like me, he said, but quickly became serious. 3 in the east, 3 in the north, I see, Sakura replied. Sasuke just nodded. Naruto created a couple of clones and they went after Sasuke and Sakura. He jumped to those who were in the south. There he saw a team of sand with a team of raincoats. Gaara killed the leader and took the scroll, then got angry, but Vdrush felt the pressure. Give me the scroll of earth if you have it. Said a voice from above. Looking there Gaara saw Naruto. And immediately threw the scroll to Tom. Naruto appeared at an incredible speed next to the scroll and appeared on the tree. Well done, and now leave, otherwise I will punish you. Gaara swallowed at these words and his team flew away on his sand. Naruto ran to help Sakura and appeared on the battlefield, picked her up and ran. The clone who was with Sasuke picked up the same in his arms and ran to the original. 30 minutes later, Team 7 was near the tower. The clone dropped Sasuke. The team went to the tower and threw the scrolls on the ground. They hissed and out of the smoke came Iruka and Kushina, PSS. It's not what you thought, no Iruka/Kushina, I barely decided Kushina/Jiraiya to do. I hate any pairings with Kushina, except if with a normal Minato. They started explaining everything, etc. 5 days later there were 6 people at the training ground, a team of Sand and Leaf. The third said, and so, we will hold the third stage in a month and who will be sparring against whom will also be found out in a month, and now you can go. Now Naruto was walking to the training ground, where he would find out his chakra nature. How is it? A great and terrible patron. Naruto Uzumaki. Yes, he does not know his element. When he reached the landfill, he saw a Jerome with leaves. Running up to him, he asked, Jerome, Sensei, what is this? This? These are the leaves of the chakra, thanks to which you can find out your element. What's yours? The wind is from body, the fire is from the mother. I see. Give me a piece of paper. Naruto said and selected all 5, holding them between his fingers. Don't ask how he knows the instructions, he held the chakra there. A few seconds later, the first one burned down, Kato. The second wet is Suetun. The third was covered with moss, Dayton. The fourth crumpled, Raiden. The fifth cut was a futon. At this, Jerome opened his eyes wide and stared in shock at Naruto's uncomprehending face, then at the leaves. Jerome, Sensei, what does that mean, Dadabayo? This means, said Jerome in a sepulchral voice of envy, and Naruto already thought that he had no elements. That you have all 5 elements. Naruto's teacher's body fell to the ground and a puddle of salty tears formed. Naruto began to look with joy at the leaves, then at Jerome, but he said the most terrible thing, I can train you to perfection with wind and fire techniques. But with other elements. The face of an unpredictable, serious and very strong man at the age of 14 was distorted in horror, and Naruto lost his composure. How so? Why? I don't want to look for sensei other than you. All assholes. Especially Kakashi sensei. I don't care that he has everything he needs to study the elements. He's a homosexual pedophile. At these words, Jerome looked in surprise at the evil as hell Naruto and smiled and said, Hee, I was joking. I actually have 4 elements. It's not good for a Sannin to still be with only 2 elements, although Tsunade doesn't have an element, or I don't remember, I have 2 more elements. Raiden and Suetun. At these words, the face of the Hokage's son was transformed into a joyful one. Naruto smiled and said, cool. Where do we start with Jerome sensei? Well, first with the techniques of fire, this is the most primitive and widespread element. If you don't own all the elements, then you're either an ordinary citizen, or you're a shinobi. What? And who are shinobi? Without spontaneous chakra shinobi, they use the chakra, but they don't have the elements, okay, phew. I thought that I would use Dadabayo only with 1 Rasengan. Well, in general, Rasengan is not the full version. There is a full version, but I can only show it in a mini form, since the amount of chakra for this technique needs a lot. Well, I seem to understand everything, but you can teach it. Rasen Shuriken, aha. You came up with the name of this technique, well, okay, we'll think that you created it, but look at me, even such a seemingly weak technique, said Zeromu and pointed his finger with a mini, Rasen Shuriken and sent it flying. Can cause such damage, After these words, the tree that the mini Rasen shuriken hit was wiped off the face of the earth. Naruto looked at it with surprise, his eyes filled with a thirst for knowledge and techniques. After that, the training of Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze began. Sasuke was sitting at the windowsill and opened the window and jumped off. Once on the floor, she ran to the river. When she reached there, she began to read a scroll with fire techniques. She read the phoenix flowers and decided to study it. It is too similar to the fire phoenix bullets. After breaking all the seals, she exhaled a couple of fireballs, but they were smaller than the phoenix's fire bullets, so she left this technique to the very last place. Flipping through the scroll further, she saw a technique called Thunderstorm of the Fiery God. Standing up again, she began to fold all 10 seals. Having folded them, she shouted out the technique and sent the chakra up as in the instructions. Thunder thundered from above and a flash of lightning appeared, then another lightning appeared, only the red one hit the tree, into which it also directed the chakra according to the instructions. This tree caught fire, and Sasuke felt weak exhaustion. Thinking that this was enough, she ran to the temple and put the scroll back. Returning to the house, she went into the room and fell asleep, looking at the gloomy weather. This happened a day later, since the beginning of Naruto's training. Naruto was sitting at home and looking out the window at the street. The weather was honestly shitty. Getting up, he opened the window and climbed out through it. Falling to the ground not very gently, he ran to the semi-destroyed training ground where he and Ziramu-sensei were training Rasen Shuriken. As a result, Naruto lay around a little in the hospital and went unconscious due to a blow from Kushina. When he reached the training ground, he created 3 clones and they began to concentrate the chakra again. After a minute, a small, but Rasen Shuriken was visible. He was the size of Uzumaki's palm and he said, "I'll call you, Mini Rasen Shuriken / achievement. You have received a mark from the author, achievement, Mini Rasen Shuriken. If you are the first to write a review, then there is a result that I will change the plot as you need, no, / Naruto walked away a couple of meters and threw his technique, so it flies by and Naruto remembers. Flashback. Come on. Flying RASENGN end flashback, A. I changed my mind, your name is Flying Rasengan / achievement Flying Rasengan, I'm kind of copying Jute.su, / a week later. Naruto, though in a week, but learned to summon toads. More precisely, the toad boss. Naruto sat with his mouth open and looked at the big toad with his sensei. Do you want the same? Come back to twist. I was joking. In short, you fold these seals. The gray-haired man began to fold the seals, and pronounce Kuchioshi no Jutsu, then pours in a lot of chakras. After the words of sensei, Naruto, having made the necessary seals, shouted, Kuchioshi no Jutsu, and biting his finger hit the ground. After a couple of seconds he was already standing on a huge toad, although he was standing. He was lying unconscious. Zero went home with a smile, holding his student in his arms. When he came to Naruto's house, he knocked and disappeared into Shunshin again, leaving Naruto on the porch. She opened the menma and looked at her brother. Grabbing the one, Shunshin turned out to be near the bed of the red-haired man and put him on the bed. After kissing him on the cheek, she left the room. After a month of training, / Naruto, 8,000 Sasuke, 5,000 menma, 7,400 kushina, 6,200 / Naruto woke up early in the morning, certainly early for him. Lazily getting out of bed, he trudged on wobbly legs, into the bath, to take water treatments. Having finished with the ends, Naruto headed to the kitchen. There he met his mother who was peacefully communicating with Menma. Good morning, Mom. He said in a sleepy voice. Good morning, my son. Yes, she answered without turning around, then continued to communicate with Menma. While doing cooking, *******, Sasuke lazily got up and stretched and started to get dressed. Leaving the room, she went to the shower, took a shower and went out. Then she went back to the room and dressed, went down the stairs to the kitchen, where she was waiting for a cold, but a little warm, look from her father and much warmer from her mother. "How did you sleep?" Mikoto began rather energetically. "It's fine, but what's for breakfast?" Sleepily rubbing her eyes with her fists, she replied. "Well, ramen." Toy Mikoto answered with a smile. Sasuke walked over to her seat, sat down. After 5 minutes Itachi came, and then also sat down at the table. Itachi was talking about the clan, with his father. And Sasuke was wondering how to attract the attention of Mashirama-sama. While she was thinking, a plate of ramen was placed in front of her nose. Picking up her chopsticks, she said lazily, "Itadakimasu." After separating the chopsticks from each other, she began to slowly absorb the noodles. Naruto walked through the village until he saw the pink crown. A minute later he ran to Sakura, saying hello. They continued on their way to the arena. On the way, they met a gloomy Sasuke, after which they went to the arena with the whole team. When they got there, they saw a man in the middle of the arena and Suna's team. There were spectators on the viewing platforms, logically. On the highest were Kage, or rather, Hokage and Kazekage, standing next to a possible examiner. They began to be divided into pairs. The first pair, Sakura Haruno and Dog no Temari. The second pair, Sasuke Uchiha and the Dog no Kankuro. The third pair, Naruto Uzumaki and the Dog no Gaara. With a little laziness in his voice, Hayate said. Gaara swallowed the last words. "He will have to fight." He raises his hand. "Does Gaara need something?" Hayate asked. "Why yes. Can I not fight Naruto Uzumaki? I give up." Gaara's head has sunk. Naruto blinked in surprise a couple of times, but realizing that he would not have a rival, he immediately began to resent. "If that's what you want." Naruto wins the fight ahead of schedule due to the fact that Gaara declared his defeat. Gekko shouted, a little surprised. Kazekage and Hokage opened their eyes in shock. Then they noticed quite a large amount of aura covering Naruto's body. This aura could be compared at least with Kubi, and Kazekage thought that it would be stronger than Ichibi. Start the fight. Haruno, Dog no Hajime, standing up against each other. The kunoichi bowed, folded the sign, the one in the canon, sorry in readers, forgot. Co-author, the one that adminement. Then after the announcement of the start of the fight, Haruno jumped back. Temari grinned. What? Haruno was scared. The Dog no shouted to the whole arena. Sakura did not answer anything. Temari did not quite tsk, then releasing one star, waved her gunbai. By the way, this is correct, since gunbai is a battle fan, and a small wall of wind rushed towards Haruno. Sakura, as soon as the wall flew into her, used explosion tags. When it collided with the wall, an explosion occurred, which stopped, or rather dispelled the sharp gusts of wind. The kunai did not survive. As soon as they came into contact with the wall, they were cut, but the explosion managed to dispel a wave of wind. What? Is that all you're capable of? She yelled, well, whatever you want to call it, at the whole arena. Temari started to get angry, but she remembered Sensei's words, never show your maximum until the end of the fight. Shopping center, weakling. This was the last straw in the direction of Suna. Temari opened the second star, waving her gunbai. She sent a huge wave of cutting blades of wind accelerated by a gust. Although you can't call it a gust, the wind was so strong that it could be compared to a hurricane. Except it's not cold weather right now. Otherwise, in general, if it were cold, the warm air currents of Temari, when in contact with cold, would form a tornado. This gust would be followed by blades, and now imagine how an infinite number of wind blades cut you at high speed. I think it is not necessary to say the scale of this technique. But despite this, Sakura still lost, and was taken away by doctors. Naruto looked at Sasuke with a smile, and then at Sakura, from which she turned away embarrassed. Suddenly there is an explosion, and looking at the seats of the kage, they did not see no hokage, no kazekage. Shinobi from the village of sand began to attack, and a large amount of ki was also felt. Looking at the source, they saw Gaara and half of the sandbox's body was covered with sand. He ran away somewhere, and Naruto ran after him, catching up with him. He began to attack him, but he was still weaker than the one-tailed one. Uzumaki was sent flying with a sand paw, which caused him to pass out for a couple of seconds, but this was enough for the complete transformation of Shikaku. Naruto looked at the giant with horror, but remembered the words of Kyuubi. The chakra of the nine-tailed one began to envelop him sharply, and the pupils became vertical, the antennae more distinct. He broke a couple of seals and bit his finger, then hit the ground with his bitten hand. A seal and smoke formed. 5 minutes later in the dilapidated forest stood two giants, a dog-like raccoon and a toad. Around them was a large field of sand and burnt trees. On the handle of the tanto sat Naruto with burning red eyes, with vertical pupils. On the forehead of the one-tailed one could see a sandman, or rather, Gaara. The toad noticed this and said, "Naruto, look! There's a baby like you on the forehead of this dog-raccoon monster. Maybe he needs to be woken up. I can see that his eyes are rolled up. Don't yell at the toad boss, Dadabayo. I understand you. Thanks. Develop." After the word evolve, the giant toad disappeared, and Naruto entered the subconscious. Kyuubi. For tails will be enough for me. If necessary, seize control of the body and increase yourself. But be sure to move my body into your heart. Biju's heart has the most regenerating chakra. At the words of the red-haired Kyuubi, he only nodded, and Naruto came out of his subconscious. His body began to be covered with a scarlet, thick Kyuubi chakra. This. My real name is Kurama, said the fox. Ha. I knew that Kyuubi is a nickname, Dadabayo. They collided with their fists and Kurama's chakra completely covered Naruto's body, leaving only white, triangular teeth, and white eyes. Uzumaki sat down on 4 paws and began to move zigzagging at high speed, dodging Ichibi's air bullets. 5 minutes later, Naruto got tired and jumped up high, finding himself at the level of Shikaku's head. He raised his hand above his head and added Kurama's chakra. The hand became larger, and he hit the raccoon's belly with it. From something it disintegrated, but came back. One-tail's cheeks puffed out and he spat out a pair of giant vacuum balls. Nine-tailed seized control of the body and increased the income of the chakra to the body, which is why he became a giant as tall as Ichibi. 2 more tails appeared below the back and the body was covered not only with chakra, but also with bones. Kyuubi jumped up high and began to concentrate a gigantic amount of chakra near his mouth. Blue chakra molecules and black Kyuubi chakra molecules began to gather in the mouth. After 20 seconds, there was a ball at the giant's mouth. At this time Shikaku tried to reach Bijidama with vacuum balls, but only hit the body, forming holes in the body. Here is Kyuubi launching a tailed bomb at Ichibi, and 5 seconds later a giant explosion reaches the village that only a deaf person would not hear. During the explosion, Kyuubi and Gaara were pushed away and Gaara flew out of the bomb barrier, I don't know what it's called, and hits the stone hard with his forehead, from which he dies. The body of the nine-tailed begins to evaporate and only a small clot of red chakra is visible. After it becomes more visible and you can see our red-haired unconscious. Kurama quickly takes control and successfully falls to the ground. Naruto was quickly picked up by Zerome and his sensei jumped up trees. 10 minutes later, Zerome was drinking tea with Kushina and Menma, and Naruto was lying in bed. After drinking tea, he thanked Kushina and went to the exit. When he came out, he took a deep breath and disappeared into Shunshin. The continuation follows when you dial 25 waiting for the continuation. Naruto woke up early and started to get dressed. After getting dressed, he got up and went to the shower. After taking water treatments, he went out and went to his room. there he dressed and went to the kitchen. Kushina and Menma were in the kitchen again, chatting about something. "Ne-chan, Ka-chan, what are you talking about?" Naruto asked sleepily. "Hey. Don't you know? It turns out that 3 Hokage-sama died, they choose a new Hokage. I hope it won't be Tuchi-san, though. Perhaps the Hokage will make mom," Menma predicted. "What the hell is Databeo?" "I don't want Tuchi-san and Kachan to be Hokage, Databeo. I want someone else to be," said the red-haired man. "And by the way, do you know that Kakashi-san was discharged?" "Yeah. And what does that mean?" Uzumaki Jr. asked warily. "Well, perhaps he will be made a Hokage." Again his sister assumed. "Really, Nasan fell in love, Databeo? Well, if so, then you are not his type. I realized a long time ago that he is a gay pedophile, and since you are a woman, then you don't have a chance." Databeo, the blonde opened her eyes wide from this. "You never know that someone is a pedophile and gay at the same time." Then she clutched her stomach and started laughing. "Don't even think." No Kakashi/Menma understand. Naruto just took a piece of toast and took a bite. After that, he began to dress in a dark yellow sports shirt and went to the residence. Zerome was waiting for him there and he told him, "Let's go for Kakashi." Why, Databeo? He will become our Kage, damn it. The elders have gone completely crazy. A pedophile. To the post of Hokage. Yes, and also gay. Yes, he will take me into the hands of Databeo. Zerome answered the words with a laugh. After persuading Naruto, they went after Kakashi. When they reached Hitachi's house, they knocked. The door was opened by a black-haired girl of 20 or more years. She was in clothes. Not what you expected? Yes? Naruto quickly found himself in Kakashi's room with lightning speed and saw him there. "You know in what attire?" He looked at Naruto and shuddered. "Phew. It's good that you're not gay, Databeo. Now I'm convinced of your heterosexuality. Fuck. Try to molest Menma, do you understand? This can be considered pedophilia. So I will gladly kill you." A bloodthirsty smile spoke of all Naruto's feelings, but no doubt he didn't like Menma. He just didn't want her sister to be in the hands of a strong, but pervert. A month later, in the hospital, Sasuke was lying on a cot. Suddenly black silhouettes jumped up to her. Their belts were tied with purple large ropes. Everything went according to the canon and they closed the speech about Mas Hiram. "Do you know? Mashirama probably loves the strong. Let's make you stronger and you will meet Mashirama-sama." After addressing Sama, she immediately agreed and sat down in an incomprehensible cylinder-shaped box. After a short time Naruto and Menma stood in the residence and listened to the fifth's order to find Sasuke and bring him to the village. Menma said, "Hi," and Naruto just disappeared. Then Kakashi quickly called Zerome and explained that Naruto Kadato drove now. Naruto was standing on the face of Hashirama, and opposite was her. Sasuke. Half of the face was covered with some kind of tattoos, and the white of the eye was black, the iris was yellow, and the pupils were also dark. Sasuke. Come back to Konoha Databeo. I'll bring you back for fuck's sake. Even if I'm in the tailed form of the 8th tail. Naruto shouted. After these words, Sasuke grinned and they jumped onto the water, then ran to each other and began to fold the seal. Sasuke, Kato, Phoenix fire bullets, Naruto, Kato, fire machine gun. Sasuke released 40 large balls from her mouth, and Naruto released 10 balls from her mouth every few seconds. When the fire streams collided, they formed a pillar or a wall of fire, but since Naruto had more fire, Naruto's balls broke through Sasuke's balls and headed towards Uchiha. She had nothing to do and she was a natural chakra plus Katan's chakra, and a carbon copy of her Sharingan, copied Naruto's technique and sent the same fire machine gun. A wall formed and the distance normalized. Naruto created a cloning seal and created several clones. after they also created a cloning seal and a mass of clones was created. They put together the same 40 seals and scattered into the water, small drills formed in the water and they headed towards Sasuke, after all these funnels connected, forming an internal, large funnel. After this funnel floated out and remained above the ground, forming a flying water lump. This lump flew at Sasuke and dissolved into clones who shouted, "Take it!" Water hydrogenation plus a barricade of Raisengans. A wall of clones, which formed 2 Raisengans in their hands, flew towards Sasuke. The seal covered her body completely and she jumped away. Having made a couple of seals, a lightning bolt formed in her hand and she ran at Naruto, who was covered with a 9-tailed chakra with 1 tail, and he ran to the meeting, while creating a Rasengan, Sasuke. Naruto, after shouting the names, an explosion occurred and the rivals were not so badly thrown away. Kurama completely seized control of the body and ran with 4 tails at Harem, who dodged in every possible way, Harem in Sasuke's body, and mocked the tailed Biju. Suddenly, the hands break out of the dense chakra back of the Jinchuriki and the hands themselves are covered with the 9-tailed chakra. These hands began to form a Rasengan, after he had blades and Kurama shouted. Rasen Shuriken. Mashirama did not react in any way and just raised his hand above his head. The hand began to sparkle and a lightning formed. After manipulations, the lightning acquired the form of a shuriken and Mashirama threw this technique into the Rasen Shuriken shouting, "Shuriken Chidori, /achievement, Shuriken Chidoryu." Almost finished the last part in the first season. The technicians touched each other and formed a ball, after which the ball increased and blew up the entire valley. 10 minutes later, opposite the black-haired one, a creature covered with red chakra and bones, Biju, was under control. The tailed one has already grown 7 tails. Black matter formed inside the creature and it spat it out in the direction of Sasuke. Mashirama. In response, he created the same black substance, only smaller, and threw it. The technicians met and a second valley explosion was formed. Suddenly, Kurama lost control of his rage and closing his eyes for a moment could not stop. Now Naruto had 8 tails and was huge. Mashirama jumped back to the destroyed head of one Hokage and looked at the giant sphere that was approaching him. He would not have time. A moment. There is a powerful explosion on the whole earth, which even in the land of lightning shook everyone. Sasuke flew out because of the blast wave and flew in the sky. Abruptly Mashirama intercepts control and folds the seal, after he appeared in the lair and passed out. During the explosion, the tailed man's body just boldly fell into the dust, and Naruto also flew up to the clouds, after which he began to fall rapidly and hit his back hard against a protruding rock and a vertebra broke through there. The explosion stopped, but not the shock wave. The shock wave pushed away not only the trees, but also the water, so Naruto was nailed to the rock. After hitting the water on him and he flew in the direction where the water was going, he was abruptly caught by Zerome and he jumped so high, jumping to the highest wave of water, he jumped on it with the help of the chakra. 10 minutes later Zerome flew to the Hokage's faces, and the Hokage's faces themselves were skinned with water. He jumped on one of the buildings and ran to the residence. There were excited Itachi, Uchiha, Kushina, and Menma. Everyone looked with horror at the mutilated body of the child. "That's not all," said Zeramu and turned Naruto over, showing a 15 by 15 centimeter hole in his back, which, although it did not pass through, but left a trace. Kushina immediately ran up to Naruto and began to heal, while crying. Itachi came up and saw Naruto's gouged eye. He fight, Zerome-san, can we transplant Shursue's eye to him, and where did you get it from? He's for me. It doesn't matter, Itachi said. Zerome understood everything and just nodded. Itachi broke a couple of seals and a jar appeared, which Kushina immediately opened, took an eye and began to insert into Naruto's right eye socket. After a moment, the tips of Naruto's hair turned black, and the closed eyes took on a black light, with a small blue glow. Suddenly the phantom Kyuubi appears and everyone is immediately alert. Naruto. Him. He will survive, but he will be unconscious for a week. There will definitely be no physical contact with the scar. After these words, the hole in Naruto's back healed, but a scar remained. Why has the color of Naruto's hair and eyes changed? Because of my regeneration, I rebuilt a little DNA and now Sharingan is like his own, Naruto Uchiha, and with a second black eye, there he awakened a Tsutomu Sharingan. And with Manjikyu, I opened several chakra channels, which is why Naruto is the second owner of the eternal Manjikyu Sharingan. Everyone opened their eyes wide at these words. Oh yes. I forgot to tell you. The properties of his left eye, when he awakens Manjikyu, will be divine, because even now, he can fight on an equal footing with several Biju and more. I covered the scar with my anti-chakra. Because of this, touching the scar should not be, since he can go into a rage and turn on the Jinchuriki mode, okay? Everyone nodded, and if he awakens the seven tails, then even my father will not be able to defeat him. And the earth will be destroyed in vain. He will take control of me. And everything. Even I won't be able to resist him, Kurama already said gloomily. The end. There will be no second part. The plot is finished.